Hello there, and welcome to my podcast. You are listening to the Dennis Herrera Show. This is my humble podcast that I started a few days ago. And this podcast, I've been wanting to do this for the whole weekend. And just things just don't turn out for me. I've been having so many issues, and I don't know why, because I've done many films and, videos, with cameras and this and that and multiple angles and everything. But I'm having so many problems with software, like, it's ridiculous. It's like I almost just wanna use my phone and, do my videos on the phone, just click and go. But I'm a Windows user, and I have iPhones, which I actually kind of regret, to be honest. I wish I'd had a different kind of phone, but that makes it easier to transfer files to my computer. So if you're listening and you have, or you're watching and you have any ideas of what I can use to make it easier for me to transfer my stuff from my phone, my iPhone to my PC, let me know. After this podcast, I'm going to do some research myself because I am having such a hard time trying to get these cameras to work. My cameras are Canon cameras. They've been overheating. I don't understand. It's hot, so you probably see it on my shine here. I've been sweating a lot, but I have a fan. I don't have an AC in this room, so got my little coffee station over here and all that stuff. But uh, I need to get an AC. That's it. That's just the bottom line. And I'm gonna get some this weekend. So if you're worried about me being too hot, hey, it's okay. I am from Honduras, a tropical, humid, hot, humid weather. And so I'm used to it. It's just for making video, it causes problems to have a little bit of heat. So the fan doesn't seem to be strong enough for that. So AC should take care of it. We'll see. But with that being said, I wanted to start today with reading off a little piece of history because of these riots. I have seen and heard some people yelling off the top of their lungs that that California, it's actually Mexico, and United States or Americans, we stole the land. And, you get to hear all these sob stories of, oh, poor indigenous people and blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I am of Indian descent, but I'm from Honduras. So our Indian descents over there, we're Lencas and Mayans is what our ancestry is. And of course, we're mixed with Spaniards, so, we don't look the whole part, right? But nonetheless, I grew up just loving the culture, loving the people. And before I start reading the little piece of history about what's happening today, I'm going to tell you about what happened to us in Honduras. The Spaniard conquistadors came to Honduras. They tried to overtake our indigenous people, our Indians. I hate that word indigenous. Our Indian people, our heroes, by force, with muskets and cannons and swords, and they couldn't beat us, But with time, they have gathered some people that were curious about the Spaniards actually went to be servants or slaves for the Spaniards. They learned Spanish, and so they found a way to communicate. Excuse me, found a way to communicate with our leader. And as I'm reading our history, there's an illustration that our hero Indian, his name was Lempira, which is the name of our coin. He was standing on a hill or on the cliff, and you can see the picture of the Spaniard on a horse with a white flag, meaning peace. And this is what was communicated to the chief Lempira, that this was going to happen because they wanted to talk peace and, coexist in peace. But there was a guy with a musket in the back behind the guy with the white flag. And as our leader came out in the open, shot him, and he fell down the cliff into these rocks and died. Well, in those times, you kill the high chief of the village, everybody else is yours. So everybody kind of surrendered in. And this is the history that I learned. And so I had a lot of animosity. I really hated the Spaniards. Oh, how dare you? What if I would have been in that time? Oh man, I would have died fighting for my country just like he was. And I'm going to tell you, I may not be dark brown like some people may think that I should be, but I kicked a lot of butt here in the States when it came to sports. especially soccer, because I played goalkeeper since I was 5 years old. But in football, man, I level people twice my size, and I'm 6'1". I think as I get older, I get shorter. But I'm 6 feet tall, right? And some close to another inch. But I've always been skinny, and the most that I have weighed when I was in sports, it was like 180, which is not bad. You guys, I used to carry some muscle on me. And even though I was a small fit, I was I was squatting about 515 pounds, and I'm talking about good squat, not all the way down. That's actually really bad for your knees, but I'm talking about really good squats. I was strong enough. 225, I think it was on my chest, 12 reps, and it's go from there, right? A lot of sit-ups, abdominal. I had an 8-pack. I looked like a freaking action figurine, with all these obliques showing up and everything. People thought I was using steroids. I didn't even know what that was. I learned what it was, and I was like, no, everything that I have is natural. This is what my culture, my ethnicity brings for my people. And I've always claimed Honduran, the Indian side of Honduras, is what I've always been proud of. Now, with that being said, let's jump into what's happening today in LA. And of course, this is like, let me see, it started Friday. Today is Tuesday. I've been trying to make this video for 4 days. You have no idea how much recording I have done, and I have to just get rid of it. It just doesn't work, nothing fit. And then the editing part is a pain in the neck, blah, blah, blah. But today, I am not going to sleep until I actually finish this video. So if you're watching it, oh, thank goodness, I got it done. All right. And so we're going to start reading this piece of history because people are saying that this California belongs to Mexico, blah, blah, blah. We can't deport them because this is still Mexico. It was stolen land from their ancestors, this and that. Well, here's a piece of history that Mexicans would respect, hopefully. And the president of Mexico, of course, doesn't like them to learn history, because then she will not get the money that she's getting right now. All right, so it says in 1848, the Mexican-American War officially ended in exchange for $15 million, right, for certain, and then also for the assumption of certain Mexican debts to Americans. Now, Mexico ceded a vast territory, including present-day California. I'm reading it out for you. Nevada, Utah, parts of Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Wyoming to the United States. So all this land that supposedly was being controlled, not owned, but controlled by Mexico because of the debts that they had with Americans, and plus the $15 million that we gave them. So that territory now belongs to us, the United States of America. If you have been a homeowner or if you own any property, you would know that that property is yours until somebody gives you a price that you agree with and now belongs to somebody else. We didn't steal it. We earned it. We paid fair and square. Now, it's important to know that we do have good history between Mexico and the United States. Besides the trading deals, whatever's happening, all this, over 100 years and decades and all this stuff. Remember that Mexico would be speaking French if it wasn't for the United States of America, okay? Now, Mexico also helped us fight in our war. This is why George Washington made a deal with the Mexican government that we will come and help them if they helped us with our war, which they did. They kept their word, and we kept ours. We sent the French back to where they come from, and that's that. The whole idea of the French invading Mexico, guess what it was? Debt. They too owed debt to the French, to the Italy, to the Spaniards. They owed debt and they couldn't pay it. So France decided to come and invade and say, I'm taking some land. Because 20 years before, they noticed the United States got a lot of land from Mexico. We paid them some money and we canceled some debts. And well, the French wanted to do the same thing, except what they didn't count on is that Mexico and the United States had a deal. And now we're brothers, we're neighbors, and we'll take care of each other. So we took care of the French for Mexicans. Now, these young people that are out there screaming their heads off, suffering from anxiety, suffering from depression, and they have these mental illnesses, and you see some of them that are leaning to the opposite side of normal, and you also see the group of Chicanos, which is normally is Mexicans that are born in the United States, and they're gangbangers, South 18, and this other thing, and they're over there threatening people like, hey, if you come and do that shit over here, we're gonna kill you, right? We're gonna execute you. And everybody leaves them alone. Very interesting, right? That all these people protesting ICE and protesting and standing up with ballsy and gutsy moves against the LAPD and the National Guard, and they can't really stand against them, can they? But anyways, they tried, and they were still being disrespectful. They still cuss them out, and they still instigate. They throw shit at them, but they don't go do that to the gangbangers because they know that they're not as tolerant. They know that they don't care about them. So everybody just shuts up. I dare this whole multitude go to the gang barrios, to the neighborhoods, and say that to the gangbangers that are committing all this crime and claiming territories for themselves. I dare them. They won't. They do what they do because we allow them to do it. Of course, when they get to a certain point, no longer allowed, and there'll be consequences to pay. People getting hit with rubber bullets and getting smacked with batons and all this stuff, they deserve it. They deserve it. I've gotten people get in my face, and I've been this close to just breaking some jaws. It's hard to control yourself, especially when you have a lot of people cussing at you and yelling at you. You don't know who's going to swing at you. You don't know what item or what object's going to hit you. I mean, there's a lot of adrenaline rushing through the body. And I can see some of these police officers, they send somebody to the ground, but at the same time, I can see the struggle that they don't really want to hurt them, but at the same time, they don't want to get hurt themselves. So, you know, um, it's a bad thing, and I think a lot of the problem is because of bad. There's no patriotism, in taught to these people. I'm sorry, I'm always thinking in Spanish, but in Spanish is involucrar o enseñar o cultivar en ellos. It's like cultivating, the American spirit to love this nation, to protect it, to honor it, and to make foreigners and anybody else that is in it to do the same. And so I wanted to start with a little bit of history so that in case that you guys encounter somebody saying, oh, this is stolen land, blah, blah, no, it's not. Learn native history as well. They were decapitating themselves. They were putting bows, and they were putting arrows through people if they came to the wrong side of the territory. Blah blah blah. Crimea River. Now they have some reservations. They got better benefits than we have, and they got better protection for free, and nobody bugs them. So leave us Americans alone. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to touch up on is there was a rumor that there was an ad on Craigslist, and they were asking for agitators. They were paying some good money to cause some problems, and I think that's what we saw this weekend. Now, there's going to be a lot of protesters, I guess, going throughout, even here in Washington State, in Oregon, and Colorado's had some already. Texas had some already. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of states going to protest and stuff, and that's fine. There's a freedom to protest. We got the right to protest, but no violence, no rioting, no looting. And just like the sheriff or the chief of the police of Florida said, to the people, it's like, you will be in jail. So, hopefully nothing really bad happens, right, throughout the country. But this Saturday coming up, we're going to be celebrating Flag Day like we have never celebrated before. And I believe the inspiration for this Flag Day comes from the Samoan people, because when they have Flag Day, the Samoans know how to celebrate. So I think there's going to be something positive coming out of it, out of all this destruction and all this stuff. There's a lot of misunderstanding, but there's also a lot of danger because these communists are pretending to be Democrats and they're trying to destroy our country. So we gotta keep standing up against them and keep telling the truth. Maxine Waters says that there's no violence going on. Well, I'm going to be showing you some clips here as I'm talking to you. And she says to not believe the lies of the people that are saying that there's some riots going on and destruction and violence, that they're not threatening police officers. And so there was no need for the National Guard. And, she walked down the streets and everything was peaceful. Well, we have eyes and ears and we can see what's going on. And what she's saying is, there's people live, in these areas. Of course, it's not all LA. LA is pretty big, but the areas where they were, freeways being shut down. I'm sure she saw that, police cars, being windshields being shattered by rocks being thrown at them over the pass and things like that. So, they think that we don't see all this stuff that's happening. We see the Mexican flag being waved across, and as Marco Rubio said, immigration is great, and I agree, but mass migration, that is wrong, and it shouldn't happen. And so we've had millions and millions of illegal immigrants coming into this country. Well, now there's going to be millions and millions of illegal immigrants being deported. Now, I want to touch up on some things that I feel like there's still some positivity, plenty of positivity to go around. We're still the strongest nation in the world. We're still making deals, even though Donald Trump seems to be running up a hill with this communists trying to put all these obstacles in his way and trying to stop him from making deals with Europe and across the world. See, people don't think about that. People only think about what they want for themselves, but they don't see what else is going on that is harming our country. And so it's important that we learn all these things so that we don't get caught up, and distracted, or we have to pay attention to everything that's going on. People like Gavin Newsom, right? That's the new name now. They got no shame, and this little clip, it just cracks me up, but that's the way he is. He pretends that he cares for his community, he calls it, for his constituents, but his constituents are the American people, not illegal aliens. And, he just, this is the way he acts. He just takes selfies and start dancing around destruction. And, he blew his chance to be the hero with the forest fires, and he blew that up. And so did Mayor Bass. And I mean, these people are just failures. And this is why, man, we don't want communists in this country. And these communists are playing like they're Democrats, but they're really not. And they're showing their true colors by all the stuff that they are defending. They're defending anything that harms the United States. I want to jump into the tariffs. I made a little live on my lunch today at work, but tariffs are still an important tool that we need to negotiate. Now, I find it interesting that the governors of the states can sue the White House. They can sue President Trump for imposing tariffs on importing or exporting, but we can't sue the governor for raising taxes every chance they get. I find that interesting, and I feel like if the governor is able to sue the president for those tariffs, we should be able to sue the state for the taxes that they keep imposing on us, making it very difficult to make ends meet. So, with that being said, tariffs are so important because it is a dealing tool to make trade fair. We already know that the world has been taking advantage of the United States, and I get it. And if you don't get it, you should know that other countries were suffering. This was going on, and as they got better, we just never stopped what we were doing. And so we kept hemorrhaging a lot of money, losing billions and billions of dollars, and to the point where we're now at $36 to $37 trillion in deficit. Democrats have been trying to get rid of the tariffs. The Europeans are waiting for that to happen. This is why they're not making a deal. So these communists are helping other communist countries like China, Russia, and all these other countries that haven't made a deal with us yet, they're helping them because they're communists themselves. That's just the only explanation that I got, right? So we need to pass the big, beautiful bill. Why? One, you guys already know. You've heard all the basics about it, and you just got to be informed of what's actually happening. Now, we know that this bill brings a $4.5 trillion deficit. Remember, this is a reconciliation bill for a period of 10 years. There are some taxes, some tax cuts that are going to expire by the end of 2025. This is going to impose 40, 50, even 60% taxes on the American people. And it's going to cost a lot of money. The less money you make, the more it feels the pain of all those tax increments. So we need to pass the big, beautiful bill so that we don't have taxes on overtime, so that we don't have taxes on tips, so that we don't get our seniors' Social Security taxed. They need to get all that money. That's what the benefit's for. Now, we are going to be kicking off a lot of people of Medicaid, welfare, and it's not American citizens. It's not residents. This is illegal immigrants that are using the system when they're illegal, and this benefit is for the American people, the taxpayers, and all the taxes that go into this nation is for the American people and its residents, not for illegal immigrants. Let's keep that clear out there. Not for illegal immigrants. Now, I don't want to sound like an evil guy, whatever, but let's be honest. They were born in a country. That country needs to take care of them. We cannot take care of the world. We can barely take care of ourselves. And what they do when they come into our country, they come and do all this destruction and rioting and looting. They're destroying our economy when we're trying to make a strong economy. These people don't think about the damage that they're causing. They come across the border illegally. They come and spit on our flag. They burn our flag, and then they raise the Mexican flag saying, this is Mexico, blah, blah, blah. And then, you start thinking about all the soldiers, all the people that have sacrificed, that have died for this country, for other countries throughout the world, the heroes of World War I, the heroes of World War II, the heroes in France from Normandy, all those soldiers that didn't think twice about giving their lives for the freedom of others because they care. This is the heart and the spirit of the American people. They care about the world, but the world seems to be throwing them to the garbage. And so we as American patriots, we need to stop that crap. And we need to stand up for our country and start respecting authority, respect the police, respect the military, give them honor where honor's due. We all have family and friends that are in the military, and they're sacrificing time. Whether you believe that or not, it is a very sacrificing and demanding job. It's not easy. It's hard on your mind, it's hard on your body, and it's hard in your heart because you're away from family. You're destroying yourself so that you can be a hero for everybody else in this nation. Okay, so here we go. The big, beautiful bill also adds more money to patrol, to finish the wall, and for more money for our ICE agents or our immigration agents. And it also has more money for our military. We need a strong defense military. And otherwise, we're going to lose peace. Otherwise, we won't be able to defend anybody else in the world. So that money needs to come in. Now, if you're worried about the $4.5 trillion, I believe that a lot of that deficit that is put in that bill will go away once we get rid of the abusers. There's people that are lazy that should be able to work. There's people that are not working, and they're just throwing away billions of dollars every year on welfare, housing, cash benefits, and so the other thing that is being fixed on there is, this all this sugary, these candies, sodas, and all these other items that food stamps is not to be used for that. And so hopefully that would be taking care of some stuff in there. But then also remember this, that's going to cut some of the deficit. And on top of that, we have tariffs put on imports. So companies that don't want to provide jobs to Americans, companies that don't want to assimilate with how technology it's changing and upgrading and just evolving, and they want to leave the American people behind, they have to pay a tariff if they want another country to build the products that we can build here in America. Now, tariffs is a good thing because it's supposed to be money or taxes that goes into the treasury for the government to use. And so if the government makes that money, that means that the American citizens or any citizen of other countries should be paying less taxes. So it's very beneficial for countries and leaders to learn how to make new products. For example, Donald Trump over here, he's investing a lot on cars because a lot of people use cars. They get totaled, they get replaced, and that's a lot of income coming in. It keeps building jobs. We got Boeing. We want Boeing to make the planes. We want to keep them healthy. We want them to make good money. But then we also need to make sure that we're being fair with trading with Mexico, Canada, and throughout the world. There's a lot of people in the world that can benefit if the United States is taken care of. I really, really believe this. And this is why it's so easy for me to talk about it, because I really believe in it. And everything else is I'm trying to figure out as I go. But when it comes to these deals with tariffs and how the economy is being helped, I know some businesses might suffer, but let's not be stupid and forget that decades ago, these Democrats that are now communists, they got rid of all manufacturing jobs. They fear-monger the people into running to China for businesses to save money and become billionaires. They preach about tax the rich and bring socialism back and all this other crap, but they depend on capitalism so bad. And you know who actually gets the money? They do. The corrupted politicians. They don't give it to the people. You have Black Lives Matter, the racist group that swears that they're going to help the black community, but instead they don't help the black community. They just go out there and go buy mansions for themselves. They don't give a crap about the black people. Let's not even talk about that because it's the Africans that hate themselves. The only people that love black people more than anything in the world is white people. And that's the one people that they hate. I just don't understand how you want to bite the hand that feeds you, so to speak. And so, we need to support our President Donald Trump. I go to work. I'm just not as excited to go to work. I go to work because I have to pay bills. And this is the reality for most of us, right? We go to work because if we don't, we can't pay bills. We can't have that meal at the restaurant sometimes. You can't have clothing, for your kids. You can't buy things that you need to survive and, to keep a roof over your head and all that stuff. But these communists keep raising taxes on the people. They keep oppressing the people little by little. They take the money away from the hardworking class, and then they oppose President Trump and his big, beautiful bill. And I think that anybody can see that. I don't have to be the one telling you guys everything that you don't already know. You see it. If you find this content interesting, please give it a like. I always thought that I shouldn't have to say it, but apparently it helps with the algorithm and the YouTube, and hopefully I can become better, right? And if I have more time to do videos and editing, I will always try to give you my honest opinion. I don't consider myself a Republican. I have supported Democrats. I have supported Republicans. And the bottom line is I look at politics as any other patriot should look at politics. Who wants to take care of our country? Who wants to protect our country? Who has the best interest of the American people in mind? And this is where I go with. Who has the best diplomacy? Who wants to work with the world, maintain peace, and have the balls to keep it? That's what I'm looking for. And this is why I voted for Donald Trump twice. I didn't vote the first time because I was not a citizen yet, but as soon as I became a citizen, I said, thank you for telling me, welcome to the United States of America and to our citizenship. I was so excited. So Donald Trump, the monster, the orange man that everybody makes fun of, I think that the more people talk bad about him and the more they try to trash him, I think the more I'm loving the man, the more I respect him, and the more I follow him. I've been called a Trumpster when I haven't been, but his agenda kind of aligns with my thinking of the American people. He's a nationalist that loves the American people. He's not a racist nationalist like Hitler was. He is a nationalist, meaning that he cares about his nation first. This is why I put America first a lot in a lot of my posts, because I believe that America should be first. The problem is that if you don't put America first, then you're going to end up not being able to be the big... My camera just died, I apologize. So the problem is that if we don't put America first, we won't be the big brother that everybody wants to have. And, China has been bullying the Philippines. They were not bullying them when the Americans were there. But as soon as we left, now they're over there building their own little private islands, and they're, treating the Filipinos like garbage, threatening them. And of course, who's gonna go stick up for them? American people, and this army is gonna go over there and defend them, and the Navy is gonna take care of this, blah blah blah. But we just can't be defending everybody. We don't have the manpower to say we're gonna defend the whole world. We have the Golden Dome, that is the dome that is being built to protect America. Russia and China don't like that because it will protect a lot of us. Now, would it be the whole United States? I don't know how that's going to work, but it's a start. Um, we voted for Donald Trump. Let him do his job. If you don't want to help, get the hell out the way. Let him do his plan. He has 4 years, and then he's out. But he has 4 years. You Democrats or ex-Democrats, because now you're communists, the other less than half of the American population that still believes in the blue, let Donald Trump do his thing. Let him fight for the American people. Stop whining about illegal immigrants. You guys act like they're being thrown in the pits of hell. No, they're being sent back to their country where they were born. What are you saying about those countries? How little do you see these people? Do you think that Mexicans are a piece of shit? That's what it sounds like to me. Because if you don't let them go back to their country, then you're saying that country is a shithole. The same thing that you blame Donald Trump for being so insensitive about. Think about that. You see all these kids crying because their dad is being deported. Well, shit, how those kids go with the parents? When my mother brought me here to the United States, I did not get excited because I was coming to the United States. I was excited because for 5 years, my mom abandoned us so that she can come to work and provide money to pay our loan for the house, buy food and clothing. And then after 5 years, she came back for us. I was excited to come here because I was going to be with her, not because I was coming to the United States of America, which is not the country where I was born. Now, God allowed me to become a citizen of this country, and doggone it, I'm going to stand up for this country because that's what my mother taught me. And I stand with a lot of Hispanics that were born here, that came here legally, that now are legal and defend this country as they should. And any other people that don't want to respect America, that want to spit in the faces of our soldiers and our military, our president, then they get the hell out of our country and go back to where you came from. It's as simple as that. So stop having all this bull crap. Oh my God, you're separating families. Send them all together. There is people that have been here for 3-4 decades illegally. What have they done to secure their future in their country? Nothing. They thought, if I stay quiet enough, I'm going to be in this country until I die. Some of them get that chance, but not all of them. Here's what I'm going to finish with. I do not encourage illegal immigration, but I'm not going to go around looking to all Hispanic or Latino people as if they're all illegal. That's prejudice. We can't do that. But if the government finds out, if they come with a warrant and says, hey, I'm looking for your brother, he's here illegally, he's got to go. All I can do is try to help him when they take him back to my country. Donald Trump has given you a chance to self-deport, gives you a free plane ticket back to your country, plus $1,000. Start over. Go back to the country you came from. Some of my family, if not all, they hate me for taking this stand. But I'm not a traitor to the United States of America. I would like to believe that I am a patriot of this country. And I love all Hispanic people, but if you're breaking the law, I cannot defend you. Here's something the Bible teaches us. We are to love one another, and we are to forgive. We love everybody, but what we are not to do is love the sin. Because even though anybody can be saved by repenting, truly repenting, not just saying I'm repenting and you keep doing the same shit over and over. By truly repenting, you can be saved. But if you don't, it doesn't matter what the scripture says. I know a lot of people like to throw in, oh, you're supposed to love me the way I am. No, I'm supposed to love you, not what you do, unless it's pleasing to God. And there's a big difference. This podcast is not to preach to you about God. That'll be another podcast probably. But I wanted to finish on this. If you are in this country illegally, self-deport, if you want a chance to keep working illegally, make your money, do something in your country. And lastly, if you came into this country legally and you love America and you search for citizenship, you search for a good thing, remember to be thankful to God, number one, and to this country, and respect and love everyone in this nation. You've been watching this long. Thank you so much. You've been listening this long. Thank you as well. Thank you guys for your support. I appreciate your comments, the negatives and the positives. Bring them all in. I like to take it all in. And till next podcast, you all be blessed. God bless America.